San Antonio's nearly $3 billion budget was finalized by City Council today. It will go into effect with the new fiscal year on October 1st.
Many have been waiting to see if calls to defund the police department will be granted. Eyewitness News reporter Leah Durain is live with the outcome of the budget. Leah?
Well, several council members say that this was the hardest budget process they have ever been a part of. Of course, the coronavirus pandemic having a huge impact on the city, local finances, and those decisions over what needs could pop up over the next fiscal year. Of course, calls to defund the San Antonio Police Department also a big part of the discussion. The meeting that formally approved the budget for fiscal year 2021 took about 4 hours this morning. Definitely a lengthy meeting and everyone having a chance to speak. The city manager was clear in the budget paperwork, which was presented to council, that the plan does not defund SAPD, but some money will be used to launch a review process and develop a new model for providing public safety in the future. Council members heard from dozens of citizens during the public comment portion. Many said the plan wasn't good enough, including Celeste Brown, a community activist and a woman who was very close to Daryl Zamalt, the man who was shot by police just a few days ago.
The budget you will vote to approve today does not represent the community's needs, but you know this, and does not reflect the 22,000 residents prioritize public health, housing, and health above all else in the SA Speak Up survey. It does not reflect the fact that residents that had never before even thought to engage politically showed up in droves to call out the overinflated police budget.
Others voicing their feedback today stood in defense of fully funding SAPD. Now, there will be some budget cuts in other areas over the next 2 years, $87 million worth of cuts, some of that coming from street maintenance. There'll be hiring freezes. And then, of course, there's different, savings on fuel and travel as well. So several areas where the city's hoping to save a little bit of money. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll hear from Mayor Ron Nierenberg, his thoughts on the budget and some of the comments he made that seem to address those concerns from the public about the police department budget. Live overlooking downtown, I'm Leah Durain, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.